Roadmap to Victory is sponsored by the R&R family of companies.
You can blame Coach P.J. Fleck in Minnesota for this game not being a top 10 matchup against USC. The Golden Gophers upset the then 11th ranked team in the country, 24-17 at home. It gives the Trojans 2 losses already. They're going to be highly motivated to bounce back with a strong performance at home against the Nittany Lions. It's not often Penn State has a chance to beat a top 10 team on the road, but there's no sense in lamenting what could have been. Coach Paterno, when you examine the unranked Trojans, it sure looks like a dangerous team capable of giving the Nittany Lions fits on the West Coast.
This is a very dangerous team with a lot of really talented skill guys and matchup issues, and let's get into it right away. Let's talk about USC's offense. That's where you really see some good numbers. They're going to be very aggressive. They score 30.8 points a game. They're balanced. Their run game is good. Their pass game is really good, and they've done a lot of nice things in certain situations. Let's talk about how they get how they get those matchups. Their wide receiver core goes 6'4", 6'1", 6'6", and Branch, the short guy at 5'10", is electric with his hands on the ball, and they'll get it to him in a bunch of different ways. So one of the things about their blocking scheme, there's a lot of block down and pull, which gives them angles, which is something that when you play a team that likes to get up the field like Penn State can create problems. So again, when they do that in the run game, the wideouts go downfield, run pass option, and they get the back in. Woody Marks is a heck of a back. They get down there, they get their blocks, they get him, and he runs hard to the end. They're very aggressive with that run game, so Penn State's got to start out by thinking about stopping that run game. Now, once you get into that situation, we're going to stop the run game. Now you got matchup problems. 6'4", 6'6", 6'1", and 5'10". You got to figure out where you're going to deploy your best cover guys, because you got to figure out which one of these wideouts you got to take out of the game, and the height. The running back is also part of that pass game, and we'll look at him in a second. But here's Deuce, who wears number 2. He's the 6'6" guy. Number 8 is the 6'4" guy. Watch those two guys. They're really dangerous. Now, we talked about Marks in the pass game. He runs routes like a wideout, has great hands and great catching ability, and has caught a pass in 50 straight games. I mean, watch this catch. That is incredible. Great catch. Watch for him. Now, what gives USC problems? Against Michigan, it was pass rush, no question about it. And Michigan did a lot of movement, and it's a newer offensive line. So when you make guys move and switch like you'll see in this one, it's hard for them to find those guys make those switches. You'll see right here, the guard gets held up, and then the tackle does. Next thing you know, Moss is getting hit, and the ball comes loose, and the turnovers have been a problem for them in the 2 losses that they've had. So now let's talk about USC's defense. Last year was a major liability for them. Okay, they really gave up a lot of points, and the biggest difference is Danton Lynn, their new defensive coordinator, a Penn State alum. You look across the board in every major defensive statistical category, and they have made massive improvements. Really, the thing that jumps out is your third down defense. They are really, really good. That is a major change, so Penn State's going to have to be good on third downs and good in the red zone. Let's talk about how they get that done. They're going to be aggressive up here. They normally play with 3 linebackers. One of the problems in Minnesota is 18 Gentry, who is a kid from Philly, did not play at linebackers. They played with a safety. They weren't as stout. But again, they're going to try and take this away and make this a 9-on-9, 8-9 game. The other safety's back there to keep you from getting the big plays. Tackling is going to be important. Breaking tackles, running through contact will be important for Penn State. Now, go to the next phase of this thing. And you talk about they're going to do some things and try and confuse quarterbacks, and they're able to do that with their nickel, and their nickel is 3 corners, so they can play you man-to-man and then have a safety to help, 2 safeties to help. Here they're going to show blitz from this boundary and bring this off the edge. That gets their defensive end one-on-one against your tackle, and they're aggressive in the secondary. Now, the last part of it that's given them problems has been teams that have run the ball against them. Michigan has done that. They had a lot of block downs, kickouts. Penn State has used a very similar scheme with an extra offensive lineman to do this, coming across. And then the running backs, when these safeties are down, you have to play action pass them, or what we call bring your own blocker, BYOB, which means you've got to break tackles, which is what Michigan's backs did. That's why it'll be important to see how well Singleton's running early in this game, because he's been the one guy. Now, we've talked about 2 phases. Third phase is special teams, and they are special. Lead the country in net punting, and their punter leads the country in punting, first in the country, 50-point over 50 yards per punt, and their special teams return guy, Zachariah Branch, is electric. Watch the vision here, the change of direction, and getting up the field. Teams have not punted to him this year. I don't expect Penn State will, but if they do, look out, and it could be a long day. And offensively, they'll get him the ball a lot of different ways as well. But he's versatile, he's exciting, much like Todd Sadowski.
Oh, so that's all they got? No big deal. Not much to worry about. Well, USC is calling it the Battle of the Blue Bloods. The last time the Trojans and Nittany Lions played each other on a non-neutral field back in '94 at Beaver Stadium. Of course, that year's squad is one of the best in PSU history. They dismantled SC 38-14. 3 decades later, they'll meet at the Coliseum, and head coach Lincoln Riley understands a deep and talented football team is going to occupy the visitors' sidelines.
You could tell that they've kind of been in their program for a while, right? It's the depth of the roster. You see some of those things in terms of, like, when their backups and all that come in, you kind of feel like, all right, this is a pretty seasoned team and seasoned program. So no, they do a good job. They challenge you on all sides. It'll be a good challenge for us.
And as we've mentioned, the guy tasked to stop Penn State's offense used to suit up for the blue and white, USC's current defensive coordinator, former Nittany Lion D'Anton Lynn. And it was great to see former Nittany Lions linebacker Paul Posluszny and his family between the quarters on the field against UCLA. Posluszny has been elected into the College Football Hall of Fame, and he was being recognized for the accomplishment in front of the home fans. The ceremony is in Las Vegas on December 10th. Time to take a quick break. When we come back, our Impact interview is with former head coach and current college football analyst Rick Neuheisel. What impressed him about Penn State's win over his alma mater, UCLA, and why he feels they match up very well against USC. Nittany Game Week returns after this.